My husband and I, both 26, recently hosted a family dinner to announce our pregnancy. It's important to add that my husband doesn't have a close relationship with his father, but we keep him around because he still has 3 minor siblings we love and care for. Although my father-in-law is the type of person who still thinks women should serve men at dining times, like he has to be served first because he's the breadwinner and crap like that. We usually don't care since we mostly ignore them. However, this time my family was present, and we consider he messed around and found out. My dad is my favorite person in the world. My mom died when I was little, and my dad took care of my older sister and me. They're the only family I have left. At dinner, my husband and I cooked things we knew our families would like. The first issue started when my father-in-law tried to sit at one of the heads of the table, and my husband said no. So he sat at one and I sat at the other, my father and sister on either side, and him with his brothers. So my father-in-law was in the middle and didn't like it. The second problem and the cause of all of this are that everyone was kind of serving themselves. However, my dad has a damaged nerve on his right hand, and he struggles when holding spoons and forks and such. My sister bought him a Parkinson-friendly cutlery set that he brings around, but a big spoon for serving is still hard for him. So I offered to serve him his plate while my sister served him his drink, and then we all sat to eat and chat. 3 or 4 minutes later after that, my father-in-law asked out loud, "Is no one going to serve me my plate?" And my husband looks at him confused and says, "No, we don't do that here." My mother-in-law just gets up in a hurry and takes his plate, but my father-in-law says no, and that the hostess did it for her father, so she can do it for me. And I say, "Yes, my father who has an injured hand. You're fine." He says that he won't eat then, and I just shrugged and said that he could starve, and I didn't care. He left with my mother-in-law, and while everyone agreed with me, my own father said that it was a disrespectful thing to say, and I should apologize for the way that I did it. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your father-in-law needs to know not everyone follows his misogynistic views, and in someone else's home, he doesn't get to act that way. If his own wife wants to be a servant, that's her choice. In your home, you make the call, and his attitude is messed up, so you need to make sure he doesn't treat you the same way he treats his wife. Actually, I might have just served him like this. "Aw, does Papa want some din-dins? So here you go, little man. Now eat all your veggies or you don't get dessert. Behave like a child, get treated like a child." I'd love to see that. Actual traditional values would mean you respect the host and hostess, as well as offer to help them. Plus, OP just announced she was pregnant. The arrogance of father-in-law to ask a now-known pregnant lady to help him. What the heck? That would never go down in an actual traditional household. This guy is just an egotistical buffoon. Kudos to your dad for raising someone with a shiny spine. Who assumes they're going to sit at the head of a table at someone else's house during a gathering they're not hosting? An idiot, I guess. Wow, that takes some next-level amount of self-centered entitlement. I can only imagine how he'll act if OP has a daughter. Also, he got up and left before the announcement? So extra. Did you later let him know the purpose of the dinner? Did your mother-in-law miss the announcement as well? If so, I feel a bit bad for her being tied to this piece of work. They don't live that far from us, so meh. Yes, he later found out but didn't care much because we offended him. But the rest of the family was so happy and my dad cried. LOL, it was a good time. My sister-in-law already wants to help me prepare the nursery and asked if she could make some sort of mural. My 28 male, girlfriend Kelly, 26, has 3 siblings. All of them have kids, and she's close to all of them. She has major love for her nieces and nephews. I love that for her, but I'm not a huge fan of kids. Eventually, yes, I wouldn't mind having kids, but right now, nope, I don't want them around. I bought my house 2 years ago. Kelly moved in about a year ago. Here's how the financial situation plays out. I pay for all the mortgage and insurance. Kelly contributes to groceries, Wi-Fi, and utilities, and does most of the cleaning. She cleans because she's a neat freak, not because I ask her to. She likes to do it. I have it set up this way because I want to be responsible for the mortgage, and I don't want her paying on it in case we break up, so I don't mind contributing triple what she does to the household. My place is very much my style. lots of electronics and sports memorabilia. I have a nice bar with alcohol and wine on it. I also have all my golf and sports equipment displayed. I have nice couches and my place is very modern. Not a kid-friendly environment. Recently, Kelly's been bringing her nieces and nephews over. I have a real issue with this. The kids range from teens to toddlers, and I don't want them around my stuff. They could steal my alcohol, break my stuff, and kids are just messy. They're dirty too, and I just don't want them in my space. So I've told Kelly it's simple. Spend as much time with your nieces and nephews as you want, just not inside my house. Watch them at your siblings' house. She's saying that's unfair because sometimes her sister asks her to watch kids when she needs to clean their house up or needs them out of the house. So I said, take them to the park or the mall or something, just anywhere but here. She says it's her house and she can do what she wants. I said it wasn't her house, it's mine. And if she doesn't like the no kids rule, she's free to leave. But I'm not risking my things for the sake of her nieces and nephews. I just know if the kids were to mess crap up, she wouldn't pay me back for it, so she can go to her family's house to watch them. I've been called the idiot for this. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Kelly's been living with you for a year, and you still say, my house? Then you tell her it's not her house? What the heck is wrong with you? Is Kelly just a guest in your house now? When you get into a relationship with someone, you accept their family too, especially because she seems like a family person. I resonate with Kelly, and I also have an immense love for my nephews and nieces and want them around all the time. I would have broken up with you on the spot if I were Kelly. She's not a guest. She's a live-in housekeeper who also pays for everything, minus the cost of the house. Maybe they hook up every once in a while, but mostly it's just so OP doesn't have to pay for Netflix, food, and cleaning. Also, OP claims Kelly's a neat freak and she just likes to do it. But then OP also claims that he doesn't want the children in his house because they'll steal his booze. What? Or make a mess. It sounds like OP is the neat freak. Of course you pay the mortgage. The mortgage is an investment in your house, and she shouldn't pay anything unless she's also an owner. You're treating her like an object, a ghost living in your house, not allowed to disclose any hint of proof that she lives there. You're basically acting as if you're still living alone, just with a new houseplant. Get your act together, or I hope she leaves you. Agree. Just break up with her already. You two are not a good match. She's a very involved aunt. To tell her the kids aren't allowed in the home she now lives in is controlling and idiot behavior. You knew how involved she was before moving in. You suck as a partner. I, 28 male, have been with my wife, 29, for 7 years. I love her with all my heart, but I'm upset with her. A little over a year ago, my wife announced she was pregnant. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't jumping for joy at being a father. She was on the pill and, to my knowledge, took it perfectly. But I guess we fell into that 1% where birth control fails. I suggested another option, but she wanted to keep the baby, so we went through with the pregnancy. My whole view has changed now that my son, an infant now, is here. My worries and apprehensions melted away the first time I held him. However, I quickly realized that my wife wasn't doing her share of childcare. We both work from home, but I'm the only one who gets up when he's crying to feed, change, and soothe him. She didn't want to breastfeed, which is fine, but she's only fed him a handful of times in the past 5 months. In addition, she refuses to get up at night, so all of his nighttime care is on me. I can count on one hand the number of diapers she's changed. I was initially lenient because I understand birth is very taxing on the body and can be traumatic, but I've seen no improvement in the past 5 months, despite talking to her multiple times and telling her I need help. I am exhausted. When I bring it up, she'll say she'll try harder, but she never does. PPD and other mental health issues were an immediate concern, but all of the doctors we went to said she didn't fit the criteria. She loves our son, cuddles him and plays with him, but doesn't do any of the hard work like feeding and changing diapers. She's not gotten up at night a single time. I reached the ends of my rope today when my son wouldn't stop crying. I was doing my best to soothe him, and my wife dared to look up from the TV and complain that he was being too loud and take him to another room. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I yelled at her and told her she was a horrible mother. She was deeply upset by this and went to stay with her parents, leaving my son and me at home. Now she's calling me an idiot and has my in-laws texting and calling me to tell me how much of an idiot I am. I'm just so tired. I feel like a single parent. I feel bad because I know what I said was mean, but I'm also angry she's enjoying the good parts of parenting while I'm stuck with the hard parts. She goes out with friends, does fun things, and partakes in her hobbies while I stay at home with our baby. I've not gotten a day to myself in months. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Her reaction upon being called a bad mom was to leave you and the baby alone? I think she basically proved your point. If she genuinely doesn't have anything wrong with her, then she's just a horrible mother, and maybe you should consider getting full custody. My exact reaction, too, is that she took the comment as an excuse to leave and not bring the baby with her. Maybe she refused the termination as a way to trap him into being a part of her life forever. I don't know this, obviously, but to be so consistent with birth control because you don't want a baby, then to suddenly get pregnant and want to be a hands-off mother seems weird. In all honesty, if you were to switch you and your wife in this tale, it would be a highly typical story of what many women experience with their postpartum husbands, which would trigger a unanimous husband is the idiot. It hits hard seeing a mother act this way. Honestly, you are a single parent right now. I wish you the best. My male, nearly adult, mom had me when she was young. My grandparents were religious and disowned her soon after I was born. The family cut contact with her save for a few relatives. My mom struggled a lot in her life. She worked a lot and saved money for me to attend medical school, which has been a dream since I was 11. No one helped, and I remember when Mom got sick and we were about to be homeless, her brother, my Uncle Frank, 37, refused to take us in, saying his wife was sick and there was no room for us. Her friend took us in, then Mom got back on her feet. She unfortunately passed away 6 months ago. Her best friend is trusted with my inheritance, but some days ago, she told me she received a call from Frank asking about the money. He told her his wife was dealing with medical issues, and he asked if I could help her pay for her surgery. My mom's friend told me this and had Frank visit me. I told him I didn't feel comfortable taking from my college fund after my mom worked so hard for me to have a future. He complained about his financial situation, reminded me of how he never approved of what his parents did to his mom, and went on about how close she and him were. I apologized and politely said no. He started begging, saying he had already tried every other option out there, and all he needed now was some financial help or a loan from me, and he'll pay me back shortly. I refused again, and he began having a breakdown, crying about wanting to help his wife but feeling helpless, then told me to think about what Mom would want me to do. This honestly was enough to get me to go into my room because of how uncomfortable he made me. He left, but took my number from my friend at school and started calling me about this issue and pressing me, saying I could help my aunt, but was choosing not to and refusing to help. He even had some of my relatives visit to talk about it. I feel a mix of guilt and frustration right now. My mom's friend says it's up to me whether I want to help my family. Am I the idiot for refusing to give him some of my inheritance? Not the idiot. Sorry about the loss of your mom, OP. Your mom made it very clear that money was for you. Don't spend a dime on these people. She knew they would come after your money. It's why she didn't leave him anything to begin with. She didn't give him the money while she was alive, and she made sure not to give him money when she knew she would be gone. Your mom's friend should have never let him come over and give him access to harass you. Block him and anyone else calling you. Instead, they turned their backs and disowned your mom and you, and only now are they talking to you because they're asking for money. Do not feel guilty about their circumstances, which I honestly question are even true. I feel like they're lying and using the sickness to manipulate you emotionally. You'll never see that money again, won't get thanks for it, and may get hassled when you try to get it back. Your uncle can take a loan out or create a payment plan with the hospital. In any event, it's not your problem. Yes, he's an adult, and when all those family members harass you, a minor child, for money, ask him why they're not helping him more. They're plenty older and probably have an income of some kind, from jobs or savings, or can get loans to help him if they care so much. He just sees you as an easy target. So stay strong and block them all. Do not sacrifice your future for them. My friend of 3 years, Bex, house sat for me this past week. I agreed to pay her $50 a day to do so. She was home with my low-maintenance dog and stayed in the guest room, or so I thought. Bex hurried out when I got home, telling me to PayPal her the money once I'd settled in. When I got into my room, it became very obvious that Bex slept in the main bedroom, my bed. I was quite put off by this because I have a guest room with a queen bed, which is more than sufficient, and told her to stay out of my bedroom. Yes, the master bedroom does have a king, but that's not what I offered her. I immediately took the sheets off as she was packing up, and as I did, I noticed something on a duvet cover near the bottom. It was nail polish. I called and asked her what the heck. She said she'd fallen asleep on top of the duvet with nails that weren't quite dry. I asked why she didn't tell me, and she said she didn't think it was that big of a deal because she could flip the duvet over. The duvet has 2 good sides, but now my duvet has a bunch of red nail polish on it on one side. My duvet was around $250, and I have a receipt for it. So I want to take the cost from the pay I was to send her with a copy of the duvet cover receipt. I told Bex I didn't think it was fair for me to pay the full house sitting rate, $350, when she had ruined something expensive of mine, $250, in an area I'd set as off limits, my bedroom. She said this was a risk I took, having someone stay in your home, and she really can't afford to have me underpay her. She even said she'd tell our mutuals that I had stiffed her if I didn't pay her the full amount. I told her I felt I was only obligated to pay her $100, $350 minus the $250 duvet. And she told me to screw right off and to think carefully about my choices and hung up on me. If she wrecked my guest suite's duvet, I would cover the duvet cost. That one was $75, and it's where I told Bex to sleep. But she ignored me, slept in my bed, and ruined my stuff without my permission to be there. She wrecked my duvet cover that she should have been nowhere near. I will never have Bex house sit again. She also smoked weed in the house. I have a covered patio with a sofa, and it was nice weather all week. And she never walked my dog. The doorbell camera never has her leaving with the dog. I don't think I want to be her friend after this. So I wonder if that's biasing me in not wanting to pay her in full after she wrecked my duvet. So, am I the idiot for deducting the duvet cost from her pay? Not the idiot. But if you're going to do that, give her the duvet. Leave it on her stoop or door with a paper check marked paid in full. She can 100% have it. You hired her to take care of your home and dog, and she did neither, damaging and neglecting the other. Why would you pay for a service she didn't provide? This, but also take pictures of the damage, so should other friends ask, you have it. I would also have lunch with a few of the more trusted friend group and tell them you're conflicted because of what happened, so they hear your side before she starts bashing you to them. That's the risk you take when having someone at your house? What the heck, Bex? It's super rude to not only go into someone's bedroom against their wishes, but to then sleep in the bed and decide to paint their nails on the bed? Then to top it all off by not telling you. The icing on the cake is not walking the dog she was hired to care for. That's no friend. Give her $100 and the duvet and cut contact. This whole situation, I, 27 male, find myself in is weird. I do think the backstory is essential here. So, my sister's getting married in November. We're close and always have been. So I find this whole situation to be even weirder. I've been asked to be a groomsman on her fiance's side. He and I are cool, and it was important to my sister that I was included. I was really looking forward to it until I saw who I was paired with. So 2 years ago, I met Tara, 26, on a dating app. We started talking daily, FaceTime a lot, and went on dates. We talked for over 3 months, and I felt like it was going somewhere. Well, after one of the dates, she completely ghosted me. I sent a follow-up text but got nothing back. I won't lie, I was really upset. I even talked to my sister about it. Well, the global issue hit, and I moved away for a job. Come back to find out my sister and Tara are now friends. Apparently, my sister got a new job. Tara recognized the last name, reached out to her, and they became friends. Such good friends that she's now a bridesmaid and hangs at my parents' house. And my parents know her. I found out they were friends literally 3 weeks ago. She never mentioned it to me. I asked if she knew that it was Tara I got ghosted by, and she said Tara had told her, but wanted to keep their conversations private. Then I received a random text from Tara. She was asking what I wanted to do for our entrance dance. I immediately called my sister, who informed me that Tara and I would be paired up, which included the entrance dance. I asked why. I know many of her bridesmaids, and she had to pair me with the one that ghosted me. She said she had her reasons, and Tara also asked for me specifically. I never responded to Tara and instead went to talk to my sister in person. I got the same answers, and this time she sounded offended that I asked for a different person. I told her how uncomfortable it made me, and she told me to stop overthinking and just have fun. I said that she didn't understand how hurt I was. She said she had an idea, but to do it as her wedding gift. I told her I'd be stepping down from the wedding party and I'll just go as a guest. She went nuts, saying I couldn't do that and she wanted me up there. I said, fine, then just switch me to a different girl. She said she wasn't going to, so I told her I'd be dropping out. My parents are calling me an idiot, but I don't think I am. It's a weird request and I'm not about it. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. They might be trying to set you guys back up. But why would you want to when not one person's willing to openly clear the air about what happened? Instead, they try to force you two together without an explanation and expect you to put aside your own feelings and self-respect to accommodate this, which is unnecessary in the first place. What a weird situation, LOL. Like they all know something you don't about something that directly affected you, and rather than help you get clarity, they all run cover for her? Tara and your sister are up to something, but you do not have to let them play their stupid game. Contact your future brother-in-law. Tell him you were honored by the request to participate, but you must step down from being in the wedding party. Tell him why. Tara and your sister can pound sand if they don't like it. Agree. It sounds like Tara wants to pretend she never ghosted you and hopes to get with you, and your sister's trying to push it by insisting on pairing the two of you. And honestly, Tara comes off as creepy. If I dated someone and the relationship didn't end on good terms, and I don't consider ghosting someone on good terms, I certainly wouldn't seek out their family for friendship. It's super creepy, and I don't know why OP's family doesn't see this. Ew, what is wrong with your sister? So Tara ghosted you, deliberately sought out your sister, interjected herself into your family, specifically requested to be paired with you at the wedding, and is now making you look like the bad guy for not going along with her delusional matchmaking BS. Tara and the sister think this wedding is a plot for a rom-com, and she and OP will end up happily ever after. Run, OP. My ex-wife has majority custody of my daughter, Corinne, nearly adult. Corinne only comes to our house every other Monday and Tuesday and weekend. Then she spends the next week entirely at my ex-wife's. My stepdaughter, Mackenzie, 20 female, lives full-time at my and my new wife's house. I want to mention that my ex-wife makes almost triple what I make. I'm certainly not poor, and my new wife and I are upper middle class. On the other hand, my ex-wife and her new husband aren't strapped for cash. Corinne got her driver's license last week, but she's had a car that my ex-wife brought her since she got her permit a year ago. Before she bought it, my ex-wife wanted me to split the cost of the car with her. I told her no because it was ridiculous that she would expect me to pay 50% for a car coming to my house less than a quarter of the time. That's like paying full rent on a house and only being allowed to live there half the time. My ex-wife was able to pay for the car on her own anyway. Corinne just got her license, and I was excited because she would be able to drive herself to and from school. However, my ex-wife will not allow Corinne to take her car to our house. I've tried reasoning with my ex-wife because Corinne has her license now, and she shouldn't have to waste time taking the bus on days when she's going to and from houses. My ex-wife is being childish and saying that if I want Corinne to be able to bring her car here, then I need to split the gas and insurance with her. I told my wife I was willing to split the gas cost, but I shouldn't have to split the insurance when she's chosen the insurance company and policy while I didn't even get a say in it. A family friend, Lydia, calls me a hypocrite because I ultimately bought Mackenzie's car and paid for the insurance and gas. Mackenzie's biological father's a bum. She doesn't have another well-off parent to pay for it as Corinne does. And besides, Corinne's here only a quarter of the time. I told Corinne this, and if she wants me to buy her a car, we can always go back to court and try to get more custody time at my house. Corinne hasn't complained about it anyway. But Lydia says it's not the point, and Corinne will feel replaced if I refuse to split the cost with my ex-wife while paying fully for Mackenzie. But Corinne has not complained about feeling replaced or about the car arrangement. Besides, Corinne and Mackenzie have treated each other like best friends for a few years now, and I highly doubt that'll change over a car Corinne knows Mackenzie's other bio parent can't afford. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot, a million times. The argument that you shouldn't have to pay because the car is only at your house a fourth of the time is the stupidest. It'll be in your daughter's possession 100% of the time, and you are responsible for 50% of her care, regardless of what her mother earns in proportion to your income. The irony of his stepdaughter's bio dad being a deadbeat who won't pay for his daughter because the ex is wealthier is not lost on me, but it seems to be on OP. I actually think ex-wife should refuse to allow Corinne to drive there or take the bus. OP has to pick her up every time. You are the idiot. Your daughter isn't a timeshare, you donkey. Seriously, what a pine cone. You're not only the idiot, but you're also a deadbeat bum of a dad. You don't have to be poor to pour your upper middle class money into your new family. You brag about what you have, then nickel and dime your ex-wife, the mother of your child, over insurance and gas. You also have the nerve to bully her about court and custody. I wish you would. The judge will have you paying double or triple, plus gas and insurance. I've, 25, been dating my girlfriend, 23, for about 9 months now. When she turned 21, her parents gave her a car, and she decided to name it Angie. I learned all this on our first date when she said, "Angie took me here." I thought that was odd, but let it slide. Throughout our relationship, she's always talked about her car as if she's talking about another person. When she got a flat tire on the highway a few months back, she called me and said, "Angie's shoe broke and she has to get a new one." When she goes to the car wash, she describes it as giving Angie a bath. This all came to a head this weekend when my friends and I went out drinking and my girlfriend offered to be the designated driver. We were out for a couple of hours and I admittedly drank a bit too much. So when my girlfriend came to pick us up, she stopped at the gas station first to get Angie something to drink. This is where I may be the idiot. I told her I thought it was weird and embarrassing to talk about her car like that. It's a machine, not a pet or a kid, and she should treat it like how a normal person would treat any machine. She got very quiet and refused to say anything for the rest of the drive home. She dropped off my friends and then drove to my apartment. I asked her why we weren't going back to hers, and she said she needed some time to think and told me to get out. She's been radio silent since then, and I'm starting to think I did something wrong. Am I the idiot for what I said? Have you ever been on a boat? How does this hurt you exactly? Your girlfriend and Angie did you and your friends a solid driving your drunk butts home safe, and you had the nerve to insult her over something so trivial? My car, Victoria, says you are the idiot. My first car is like a baby. Mine was Toby, an old dark red VW. Are you kind of jealous about the car? That she's driving? Do you feel it emasculates you? Because that isn't true. Just relax and be happy for your girl. You called her weird and embarrassing, as she did you and your stupid drunk friends a favor late into the night. You made her feel stupid because she now knows you're secretly embarrassed by her for months over a quirk. If you can't turn this around, you are the idiot, and probably a single one. While our parents loved me, 30 female, and my younger sister Olivia, 27, we were not treated equally or held to the same standards. I was always expected to be a hard-working, accountable child and make responsible choices. But Olivia was encouraged to have fun, and our parents bailed her out whenever she made an irresponsible decision. For example, when Olivia performed poorly in school due to not making an effort, they would pay tutors to do her homework. But if I genuinely struggled in a subject, they would tell me to figure it out myself. Their justification was that Olivia was the baby sister and she needed more help and attention than I did. But they've still clung to this excuse when Olivia was well into adulthood. I still love my parents, but due to their favoritism, I'm honestly closer with my husband's parents than my own. My parents helped financially with the first 2 years of college. Then I had to cover the rest of my bachelor's and master's degrees myself. They financially supported all of Olivia's education. Olivia wanted to become an RN, just like mother and grandma, but she couldn't pass most of her general education courses and eventually dropped out because she said it was too hard for her. Olivia then convinced our parents to invest a massive amount of money in her to begin a business. She owned a store that sold things like candles and bath bombs, but the store went bankrupt after a year. Currently, Olivia is unemployed and living with our parents. She claims she's figuring herself out, which means she's mainly partying and spending time with her high school friends. Olivia is upset because many of her old friends are no longer in the area. She'll call me to express her disappointment because her friends are moving on with their lives and families of their own, and they have less and less time for her. I tell Olivia I'm sorry to hear that and that I have to hang up soon. We celebrated my toddler son's birthday with a family dinner. I was talking with my aunt-in-law about my students. I work as a creative writing tutor on the side to pick up some extra money, and it feels as if we were just having a conversation. Olivia joined and asked a few questions, then commented, "Not like you'd ever be able to make it big yourself. No offense, sis." I responded, "Livy, a quick reminder that you accomplish nothing in your life without mom or dad holding your hand. As soon as you do, you can criticize my work all you'd like." Olivia was, of course, offended and started causing a scene. My parents and a few other relatives said my response was cruel and I was out of line to say it. But my husband and his family said that Olivia invited it after insulting me first, so I am conflicted about if I'm in the wrong. I'm hoping for some unbiased perspectives. Edited to add, Olivia's never even been suspected of having a learning disability, much less diagnosed. I explained that Olivia performed poorly due to a lack of effort because she would skip classes constantly or take 20-minute bathroom breaks every class. Olivia was and still is intellectually capable of succeeding academically, but I believe Olivia's never learned how to apply herself and not give up when things become challenging. Not the idiot, so she can dish it out but cannot take it. Social media has made y'all comfortable with disrespecting people and not getting punched in the face for it. OMG, it was so cruel, but she needed it. I've got to stop with the be nice and be the bigger person BS. You've been doing it your whole life. Of course your family will say that you're the idiot. They've spoiled her all this time. So don't feel bad, OP, and be a little self-centered. You deserve it. I don't think it was even mean. It was a simple statement of fact. You can be proud that everything you've achieved is due to your endeavors and your own strength. Unfortunately, even with your parents' financial and emotional support, your sister has achieved nothing and will be more of a burden as your parents age. They've ruined her by spoiling and coddling her behavior. So sad. My sister is a young preteen. She and I share the same dad and we have different moms. My mom died when I was 15. My dad married my half-sibling's mom when I was 8. They have 4 kids together. The young preteen, 2 younger children, and a toddler. I have more family than they do. My mom came from a large family with many siblings, cousins, etc., as well as parents and grandparents who outlived her, so I benefited from that. My dad came from a family who were in and out of jail, and he cut them out years ago. His wife is an orphan who's an only child and doesn't have a good relationship with her extended family. So my half-siblings have no extended family. It has been a point of contention between my dad and me and his wife, my dad and my extended family, and my dad's wife and my extended family. Dad thinks they should have expanded the family with my half-siblings. He believes they owe them a family. His wife believes the same. They do not. Neither do I. The bad blood existed even before my half-siblings were born. Before she died, Mom left her parents and sister in charge of certain things she wanted me to have, not my dad. Apparently, she told him that Getting sick so young and knowing she would leave me when I was so little made her realize how anything could happen. And while she trusted him, if he remarried, she didn't want his future spouse left in charge of her keepsakes. She didn't want some random woman in the future holding on to items she treasured and wanted me to have. My dad was so unhappy about it, and conflict arose there. I think all of this has contributed to my dad and his wife setting my half-siblings up with the expectation that my extended family would be theirs and that they should be coming to stuff like birthday parties and sending them gifts and taking them out for day trips like they do with me. So Dad told her that he told my grandparents about her birthday party, and so she waited for them to show up. And when they didn't, she was upset. She had friends and friends of the family, but not much in the way of family. She got upset and asked me why they didn't come. I had already voiced to my dad that he was being cruel, and I told his wife the same. They said it was my grandparents who were being cruel, so I decided to tell her that she was not related to my extended family. I explained that they didn't come because they're not friends of her parents, and they're not part of her or their family. I explained how they're my family because of my mom and how that worked. She looked so surprised to realize it didn't make them her family too, and hurt, because she realized she was lied to about having lots of family. My dad and his wife were so angry at me for talking to her about it. They said at my age I should have been more sensible to know that it wasn't my place and it was cruel to leave her with. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, assuming you told them gently and not in a mean or gloating way. It's a truth they need to understand. It may hurt a bit, but in the end, what would hurt more would be thinking that their own grandparents didn't like them. For some reason, your father seems to think that when he married your mother, her parents adopted him for life. Well, sometimes that kind of relationship will form. Clearly, your mom's parents don't feel the same way, and that's their right. The fact that your mother felt it was necessary to put her heirlooms in the hands of her family suggests that she may have some inkling that your father would not be able to respect boundaries. And clearly she was right. And either way, he owes his kids the truth. They're cruel to her by setting up this family dynamic. While telling her the truth hurt her feelings at the moment, it was a more loving thing to do. If you want to comfort your sister, tell her that while your extended family may be different, you'll always be her family, that you and her parents love her, and that you'll always have family around her, even if they look a little different than yours. Tell her that love isn't measured by the number of people giving it, but by the quality of love provided.